Hi there, this is Manny with Classic Auto Repair doing a quick review of the estimate provided for the 66 Pontiac. I'm going to just run down the list and that way I cover everything. If you have any other questions, please bring them to my attention at your convenience. So the first thing I have it covered under warranty is the tuning. I pulled the spark plugs out because we were getting some popping out of this left side bank of the exhaust, kind of a little bit of a pop. Not out of the normal. The glass packs that this car has on it are going to create that popping noise. The only reason that you're picking up on it now is because the idle on the carburetor is a little bit too high. So I'm adjusting that down just a little bit so that the cold starts aren't overly revving the motor. But after pulling the spark plugs, I didn't find any foul condition, so they're firing the way they should. Could be a tight valve or a loose valve, which would also cause that popping noise, but I have a feeling it's probably the exhaust system. This glass pack on the driver's side may be going, and you're going to hear a little bit more exhaust noise because there's nothing restricting it inside of the pipes. Okay, so running down my list, there's no charge on that. I'm just going to tune it up, check the timing, do some adjustments there, make sure everything's still within specs from your, I think you were here back in May of last year. So again, the car's been setting a little bit, and that's the reason for the fault in the second item, which is the horn. The horn was not functioning. And I found the problem right here is your horn relay, and the horn relay plug was not making good contact with the terminal connection. So I pulled this off, I cleaned it, and I put dielectric grease inside of the plug and then reconnected it, restored your horn function there. Next item is an oil change. I do have that scheduled. I've already completed the inspection on all the items. You'll see the results from the inspection on your copy when you receive it. Next item is the stereo fault. I tested, went up underneath the dash, found the wiring for the stereo system, and I tapped into each wire to test it for power and for ground. And the wiring is in good condition and is operating within the specs. So the problem is an internal short inside of the radio, to my best of diagnosing this problem with the stereo system. So I would go back to whoever installed it and see if you have any warranty available if you had that done by someone, some other company. All right, so the next item on the list, nothing I can do on the stereo except put a new one in there. Won't be able to work that into my schedule for about the next 60 days. So keep that in mind if you want me to do that. You might want to get a stereo here shipped to you and then bring it in and I can swap it out. Next item on the list is the antenna. I was able to take the old antenna parts off and install the new. I polished this stainless cup that I had a new one, and I ran it through the buffer and then polished the nut as well. So now that has all been restored and is in good condition there. All right, so next item on the list is the turn signal canceling. I did see what you were saying when you turn the steering wheel. You just got to keep in mind this steering column is 50 years old. It's got bearings and bushings, and there's some play in this steering column, and that's going to affect the precision of the canceling. When this thing is flopping around like this, the connections that it's making behind here where the new turn signal switch is, they're just not as precise as a brand new car. I do put a lot of steering columns in. I don't have them available for the Lemans, but like on Chevy trucks, Camaros, Mustangs, I put in a lot of steering columns because they do wear out. And you do have problems with sloppy gear shifts, the wobbling, the bearings, the bushings, everything over 50 years. This is a highly used part all of this mechanism, and that's where you're seeing your failure. So even though I have put a new turn signal switch and it operates within specs, it's the return from going on a left turn and putting it back to straight. It's not pulling this lever completely all the way up, and that's not something I can make a repair of. The switch is functioning correctly. I just can't get the action of keeping that steering wheel straight and restoring it back. The fix would be to replace the steering column parts, and I just don't have access to that. It's not something we offer here. All right, moving on to the next item on your list. On the back side, you asked for a quote on the front seat cover. I will have to take, my upholstery guy is located in Denton. I can provide you with the information, and the best way to get an accurate quote, you have some wear on the seat anyway. You can see where the beading has worn off. These seats aren't obviously brand new, so what we find is my upholstery guy won't take the original one off because the fabric is so old, it's hard to re-clamp it back on once it's pulled off of the hog rings and removed. So he usually will only do these if he puts new covers back on it. So my suggestion to you is I'll provide his contact information. He is in Denton, really close by off of 35 up there as you come into Denton, and just swing by his shop and just tell him that, you know, Manny sent you, and maybe set up a time where he's available to go in there. In a few minutes he can quote this for you. Maybe he can take a look at this top and see if what it would take to recondition it as far as putting a new canvas while the frame is repainted, maybe by a body shop. I would get him involved in any of those upholstery type items that you may have, and I'll provide you with his information. On the chrome and oxidation, I recommend the steel wool. You can buy that at Lowe's, Home Depot, any auto parts store. And you saw as I applied the steel wool to the hubcap, I was able to remove that oxidation on there. Now these, I don't have a source for these, but I would research maybe getting some new Moon hubcaps. These are 14-inch wheels, and this is an 8-inch diameter. It's a lot of hit or miss. I don't do this or offer this this product, but this has a lot of dents on this particular cap. The one out of the four, this is the most damaged, and so instead of restoring that, you may want to replace it. You can usually buy them in sets of 2 or 4, and maybe getting a whole new set of hubcaps for about $100 online. I just don't have access to making sure they're going to fit. You're just going to have to do some trial and error here. It's not a stock item on this car, so I have no resourcing for finding the original parts and getting those back on your car. So as far as cleaning the wheel itself, not the hubcap, but the wheel, use that steel wool that I recommend. We keep it here because it's a real common way for us to get the condition of metal chrome back to where it needs to be. And you can see here, this is a 000 grit. You can get this stuff in all kinds of grits. This is a grade 1, which would be a 100. It's going to be much coarser, and you're going to want that really fine steel wool, because that's going to, if you use that steel wool in combination with some wax, I usually use like a wet wax, a carnauba spray of some type. As I apply the steel wool to the chrome surface, I'll put some wax, liquid wax. I'll show you an example of what we use here. And I just spray a little bit of this on the surface, and then I'll hit it with some steel wool, and it'll just bring out all the luster and the shininess and knock off that oxidation. And you can do that on bumpers, trim moldings. Just be careful around aluminum because you don't want to scratch the aluminum, but just do a little inconspicuous spot, and then that'll tell you, like these headlights will shine up really nice, the rings, the front bumper. all of that will get really just like brand new again. And you'll be all set there. Okay, so the last item you asked about was a quote on the air conditioning system. And to replace everything under the hood and inside with a computer-controlled air conditioning system is $5,900. That includes parts and labor. You're going to be looking at a lot of parts that are going to go on that. You're going to have a compressor like one of these, some kind of ventilation system under the dash or within the dash, depending on every car is a little bit different. But then it'll provide a hurricane evaporator and heater core. That's this unit right here. This goes up underneath the dash. I connect the tubes for airflow for your defrost and for your vents and run those to whatever selected vents in the dash as I mentioned earlier. So all that goes in there. There's condensers, there's compressors, there's a lot of parts, and all of that's covered under a 1-year warranty. And something we do a lot here is putting air conditioning systems in the car. The good part is you already have a radiator that is capable of handling the overhead of an air conditioning system and an electric fan here. We would just put some condensers, dryers, accumulators, a bunch of hoses, and then we would remove this panel here, put a new plate, and this is where all your air conditioning and heater hoses would come through here and go to the motor and go to the compressor. Inside of the dash, you would have an under dash control head, and that would be how you control all the functions. So that quote is provided there, and I can work that into my schedule over about the next 90 days. If that's something you would want to get on the list, let me know, and I'll put you on there. All right, I'll go ahead and send this over. Let me know if you have any questions. But on this visit, my recommendations are to do the oil change, just get the oil freshened up. I'm going to do a safety inspection on the bottom of the car. I've already road tested it. Didn't really feel the wobble too much in the steering. I put it under the normal curves at high speed, low speed braking. And it's there, but it's not really heavy like I have on a lot of cars that come in here. But I am going to put it up on the lift, look at the tie rods, the pitman arm, all the bushing, see if there's any looseness there that I can visually inspect, and then I'll report back to you if there's anything that is not in good working order so we can get those parts replaced. All right, thanks for watching. This is Manny at Classic Auto Repair.